Have you ever let one rude comment, one careless gesture, or one annoying moment ruin your entire day? Now imagine being calm, centered, and completely unshaken, no matter what comes your way. Sounds unrealistic? It's not. Carl Jung, the renowned psychologist, believed that genuine emotional freedom comes from mastering your inner world, not giving others power over it. In this video, we'll explore Jung's timeless wisdom and uncover 6 transformative lessons to help you stay calm, confident, and in control, even in the most frustrating situations. You'll discover how to confront your shadow, manage anger, protect your peace with healthy boundaries, and release what no longer serves you, all grounded in Jungian psychology. By the end, you'll have practical strategies to stop reacting impulsively and begin living with unshakable inner strength. So, if you're ready to unlock the secret to becoming unbothered, hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and join us on this journey to emotional freedom. Stay tuned. This could change the way you see yourself in the world. But here's the question. What if your anger isn't really about the rude coworker, the impatient driver, or that sarcastic remark online? What if it's pointing to something deeper within? Carl Jung, founder of analytical psychology, explained that our strongest emotions, like anger, often stem from the shadow, the hidden part of ourselves we resist acknowledging. The shadow holds suppressed feelings, insecurities, and unhealed wounds. When someone triggers us, it's not just their behavior, it's our shadow reacting. In this chapter, we'll explore how confronting your shadow can help you tame anger and regain emotional freedom. Take Sarah, a 32-year-old marketing manager passionate about her work. During a meeting, her colleague Tom interrupts her presentation with a dismissive comment. "That idea's been done before, let's move on." The room falls silent. Sarah's heart races, her face heats up and anger floods in. She wants to snap back, but she pauses. Why does this sting so much? Why does Tom's remark make her feel small? She realizes it's not just about Tom. It's her shadow, the part of her afraid of being overlooked, the part that ties her worth to others' approval. Jung taught that the shadow isn't simply a problem. It's a teacher. The anger we feel often highlights something buried, an insecurity, a past hurt, or a belief we've avoided. Ignoring it allows the shadow to control us, turning minor slights into major outbursts. Facing it, however, helps us reclaim our power. For Sarah, acknowledging her shadow meant asking, why does this dismissal cut so deep? Through reflection, she uncovered a long-standing fear that her ideas, and therefore her value, weren't enough. By facing this truth, she not only eased her anger toward Tom, but began healing a part of herself long ignored. So how can you face your shadow to better manage anger? It starts with self-awareness. Jung called it making the unconscious conscious. When someone triggers you, think of it as a spotlight on your shadow. Instead of lashing out or suppressing feelings, pause and look inward. Is the anger about this moment? Or is it tied to a deeper fear, memory, or unmet need? This isn't about blaming yourself. It's about understanding yourself. As Jung said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. Here's a practical example. You're driving to work when someone cuts you off. Instinct says honk, yell, and let it ruin your day. But what if you stopped and asked, what's this anger really about? Maybe it's not just the driver. Maybe it's deadline stress or a deeper fear of losing control. By identifying the real root, you loosen anger's grip. You're not suppressing it. You're understanding it, which is the first step to mastery. One simple technique to begin this process is the shadow journal. Next time you're triggered, write down 3 things. What happened? Briefly describe the event. What am I feeling? Name the emotion, anger, embarrassment, hurt, and rate it from 1 to 10. What's beneath it? Ask yourself, what does this remind me of? What fear or belief could be driving it? Be honest. Even if it's uncomfortable, Sarah used this exercise after her meeting with Tom. She wrote, "Tom dismissed my idea. I felt angry and embarrassed, 8 out of 10, Beneath it, I fear I'm not good enough. His comment reminded me of being ignored as a child. By naming these layers, she recognized her anger as a message from her shadow, not proof of her inadequacy. With that clarity, she responded to Tom's critique calmly, without letting it derail her. Facing your shadow isn't easy. It takes courage to look at the sides of yourself you'd rather avoid. But here's the reward. Each time you do, you weaken the triggers that once controlled you. You stop reacting on impulse and begin responding with intention. As Carl Jung said, I am not what happened to me. I am what I choose to become. That rude co-worker, the impatient driver, the sarcastic remark, these lose their power when you realize your anger can be a doorway to self-discovery. So the next time you feel that rush of heat, don't suppress it or let it consume you. Instead, ask, what is my shadow trying to teach me? By doing so, you're not just managing anger, you're unlocking a deeper connection to yourself. And that's where real emotional freedom begins. Stick around for Chapter 2, where we'll explore how to choose your response instead of letting others shape your story. Meanwhile, what's one trigger you've noticed in yourself lately? Share it in the comments. We're all learning together. Have you ever felt your blood boil over something someone said or did, only to later realize you could have handled it better? Here's an important truth. Jung's psychology shows that between every trigger and your reaction lies a space, a moment where you have the power to choose. That space is your freedom. Too often we allow other people's words or actions to dictate how we feel. But what if you could reclaim that choice? In this chapter, we'll explore how to use that space to respond intentionally, rather than letting someone else's behavior dictate your emotions. Jung's work reminds us that our reactions are shaped by our inner world, our unconscious fears, beliefs, and desires. When someone pushes your buttons, it may feel like they caused your anger. But in truth, they're only the spark. The fire comes from within. The good news is, you can decide how that fire burns, or whether it burns at all, by stepping into that space between stimulus and response. You align your actions with your values, not with someone else's narrative. Let's look at a real-world example. John, a 28-year-old graphic designer, has been close friends with Mike since childhood. One evening, Mike makes a cutting remark. Still doing those artsy projects? When are you going to get a real job? John instantly feels anger and betrayal. His first instinct is to defend his career, but instead, he takes a deep breath and pauses. In that space, he asks himself, why is this affecting me so much? Is this really about Mike? John realizes it isn't about him. It's about Mike's own insecurities in his corporate role. By choosing not to react, John avoids a needless argument and protects his peace. This idea of space isn't new. Jung was inspired by thinkers like Viktor Frankl, who famously said, between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space lies our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. For Jung, this space is where self-awareness meets action. It's the place where you decide whether to let someone else's negativity shape your story or to remain grounded in your own truth. So how do you practice this in daily life? Start with a simple but powerful method, the 3-second pause. The next time you feel triggered, whether by a rude comment, a dismissive gesture, or an unfair critique, try this. Pause. Stop for 3 seconds. Take a slow, deep breath to interrupt your automatic reaction. Reflect. Ask yourself, what's really happening here? Is this about them or is it touching something in me? This brings awareness back to your inner world. Choose. Decide how you want to respond based on your values, not the heat of the moment. Do you want to escalate, walk away, or respond calmly? Let's put this into practice. Imagine you're at a family dinner and your uncle makes a snide remark. You're always traveling, aren't you? Don't you ever want to settle down? Your first instinct might be to argue or feel judged. But instead, use the 3-second pause. Breathe, reflect. Ask yourself, is this really about my choices, or is my uncle projecting his own regrets? Then choose your response. Maybe you calmly reply, I love exploring new places. It fuels me. Or maybe you just smile and let it pass. Either way, you remain in control, not your uncle's narrative. This technique isn't about suppressing emotions, but about creating space to feel, reflect, and then act with intention. Carl Jung's idea of individuation, becoming your authentic self, rests on making conscious choices like this. When you react impulsively, you allow someone else's story to shape your emotions. But when you pause and choose, you take authorship of your own. Let's ground this in an example. Lisa, a high school teacher, receives an email from a parent accusing her of being too harsh with their child. Her first reaction is defensiveness. After all, she works hard to be fair. But instead of reacting, she applies the 3-second pause. She breathes, reflects, and realizes the parent's frustration may come from their own stress, not her teaching. Instead of sending a defensive reply, she responds calmly. I appreciate your feedback. Let's discuss how we can support your child together. This diffuses the tension and keeps Lisa aligned with her values as an educator. The beauty of this approach lies in its simplicity. You don't need to be a Zen master or a Jungian scholar to do it. All it takes is 3 seconds and the willingness to choose your response. Over time, this practice reshapes how you handle triggers. The rude coworker, the judgmental friend, the stranger who cuts you off, they lose their power over you. As Jung might say, you're no longer a puppet of unconscious reactions. You're the one holding the strings. So the next time someone pulls you into their drama, remember, pause, reflect, choose. That's where your true power lies. Stay tuned for Chapter 3, where we'll explore how to set boundaries to protect your inner peace. And here's a quick reflection. What's one moment when you could have used the 3-second pause? Share it in the comments. We're all learning together. Do you ever feel drained by other people's demands? Like you're always saying yes when you want to say no? Jung taught that genuine inner peace comes through individuation, the process of becoming your true self by honoring your needs and values. A core part of this journey is setting boundaries. Boundaries aren't about pushing people away. They're about preserving your energy so you can show up as your best self. In this chapter, we'll look at how clear, intentional boundaries shield your peace from outside chaos and keep you steady no matter what others project onto you. Jung believed that to become whole, we must distinguish ourselves from the expectations and influences of others. Without boundaries, you risk losing yourself to their demands, moods, or negativity. Think of boundaries as a fence around your inner garden. They don't block out the sunlight. They simply keep out what doesn't belong. When you set boundaries, you're sending the message, my peace matters, and I choose to protect it. This isn't selfish. It's necessary for living in alignment with your true self. Here's an example. Meet Mia, a 35-year-old single mother and small business owner. Her friends often call late at night to vent or ask for favors. She loves supporting them, but the calls drain her energy, cutting into her rest and time with her daughter. One night, when her friend Lisa calls at 10 p.m., Mia feels that familiar pull to say yes, but instead, she pauses. She realizes she's been prioritizing everyone else at the expense of her own well-being. Rather than answering, she sends a text. I care about you, Lisa, but I need to keep evenings for my family. Can we talk tomorrow? Lisa understands, and Mia feels relief. She has protected her peace without losing a friendship. This is individuation in practice, choosing yourself without guilt. Boundaries don't mean you care less about others. They mean you care enough about yourself to show up fully for the people and responsibilities that matter most. Without them, you're like a house with no doors, open to every intrusion, never able to rest. As Jung said, the privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. Boundaries are how you claim that privilege. So how do you begin setting boundaries to protect your inner peace? It's not about building walls or being confrontational. It's about clear, kind communication rooted in self-respect. Here's a practical method, the boundary blueprint. Try these 3 steps whenever you feel overwhelmed by someone else's demands. Identify your limit. Ask yourself, what's draining me right now? What do I need to protect my energy? Be specific. It could mean saying no to last-minute requests or reducing time with negative influences. Communicate clearly. Use I statements to express your boundary without blame. For example, I need quiet time after work to recharge, so I can't take calls in the evening. Uphold your boundaries consistently, even if it feels uncomfortable. At first, standing firm shows others you mean what you say, and it strengthens your confidence. Take this example. You're at work, and a colleague keeps piling extra tasks on you, assuming you'll handle them. You're frustrated, but don't want to appear unhelpful. Using the boundary blueprint, you start by identifying your limit. I can't keep taking on extra work without neglecting my own priorities. Next, you communicate clearly. I'm happy to assist when possible, but this week I need to focus on my own projects. Finally, you uphold the boundary by politely declining future requests that cross the line. This protects your time and signals that your energy has value. Of course, setting boundaries can feel intimidating, especially if you're used to pleasing others. You may fear looking selfish or hurting feelings. But here's the reality. People respect you more when you respect yourself. And those who don't, their reaction says more about them than about you. Carl Jung's concept of individuation reminds us that peace of mind is sacred. It's the foundation of personal growth. As the Stoic philosopher Epictetus said, "No person is free who is not master of themselves." Boundaries are how you claim that mastery. Let's consider another scenario. David, a college student, has a roommate who constantly borrows his belongings without asking. Instead of letting resentment build, David applies the boundary blueprint. He identifies his limit. I need my personal items to be respected. He then communicates, I'm fine with sharing, but please ask me first so I can keep track of my things. When his roommate slips, David gently reminds him, reinforcing the boundary. Over time, his roommate adjusts, and David feels more in control of his space and emotions. That's the real power of boundaries. They free you from burnout and resentment. They allow you to say yes to what aligns with your values and no to what doesn't, without guilt. By setting boundaries, you protect your peace and honor the unique self Jung believed you were meant to become. So next time you feel stretched too thin, pause and ask, what boundary do I need to protect my peace? Try the boundary blueprint and notice how it transforms your relationships and sense of self. Stay tuned for Chapter 4, where we'll reframe criticism as a tool for growth. Now let me ask you, what boundary are you ready to set this week? Share it in the comments. We can inspire each other to protect our peace. Has harsh criticism ever left you defensive, angry, or even worthless? That's natural. It stings when someone points out flaws. But what if criticism isn't an attack? What if it's a mirror, reflecting parts of yourself you haven't fully explored? Carl Jung's psychology teaches us that, when approached with curiosity, criticism can be a powerful tool for growth. Through the lens of Jung's shadow, the hidden parts of ourselves we deny, criticism often reveals truths that guide us toward individuation, the process of becoming our true selves. Our reactions to criticism usually come from that shadow, the unacknowledged fears and insecurities we push away. When someone criticizes you, it's like they're holding up a mirror to the part you've avoided. The pain isn't only about their words, it's about what those words touch within you. By reframing criticism as a chance to explore your shadow, you can transform it from a trigger for anger into a stepping stone toward growth. Take Alex, a 30-year-old software developer. He's poured himself into a new project, but during review, his manager tells him, "This code is sloppy. You need to step up your game." Alex feels embarrassed and angry. His first instinct is, to argue or withdraw. How dare she call my work sloppy? But instead he pauses and reflects through Jung's lens. Why does this sting so much? Is there truth in it? Digging deeper, Alex realizes the comment hits a nerve because it echoes a shadow fear that he's not as competent as he wants to be. Instead of lashing out, he asks his manager for specific feedback, applies it, and ends up more confident in his skills. By facing his shadow, he turns criticism into growth. This aligns with Jung's idea that everything we encounter, even negativity, can serve our journey toward wholeness. Criticism doesn't define your worth. It's an invitation to look within. As Carl Jung once said, everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. The key is to separate the emotional sting of criticism from the potential lesson it carries. Not all criticism is valid, yet even poorly delivered feedback may hold insight if we're willing to look deeper. So how can you reframe criticism through Jung's perspective? Use what I call the criticism filter, a simple 3-step technique to process feedback constructively. Step 1. Pause and breathe. When criticism lands, resist reacting right away. Take a deep breath to create space and approach it calmly. Step 2. Separate fact from opinion. Ask yourself, is there truth here or is this just their viewpoint? Break it down. What's factual, what's subjective, and what's emotional? Step 3. Explore your shadow. Reflect on why the comment bothers you. Does it trigger a hidden insecurity or fear? Journaling helps. Write down, what does this remind me of? Is my reaction about them or about me? Here's an example. Imagine you're at a family dinner and your aunt says, "You're always working. You never make time for family." Your first instinct may be to defend yourself or feel guilty. Instead, apply the criticism filter. Pause. Separate fact from opinion. Yes, you've been busy, but her tone feels judgmental. Then explore your shadow. Why does this hurt? Perhaps it stirs a deeper worry about neglecting family. By reflecting, you could respond, "I hear you, Aunt Linda. I'm working on balance." This both eases tension and supports growth. Another case, Sarah, a freelance writer, submits an article, and her client says, "This isn't what I expected. It lacks depth." Sarah feels crushed, but applies the filter. She pauses. She separates fact, her draft didn't meet expectations, from opinion, lacking depth is subjective. Then she reflects, this stings because she fears not being good enough as a writer. She asks for clearer feedback, revises the article, and realizes her first draft was rushed. What started as painful criticism ultimately sharpened her skills and confidence. Reframing criticism isn't about dismissing your feelings or accepting every critique as truth. It's about applying Jung's wisdom to use feedback as a tool for self-discovery. Some criticism will be unfair, let it go. But when there's even a grain of truth, it's an opportunity to grow stronger. As the Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius reminded us, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. By approaching criticism through Jung's lens, you stop letting it fuel anger or self-doubt. Instead, it becomes a light shining on your shadow, guiding you closer to the authentic self Jung believed you were meant to become. So the next time criticism stings, ask yourself, what can this teach me about myself? Use the criticism filter to turn feedback into fuel for growth. Now, let's move into Chapter 5, letting go to liberate your soul. Have you ever held on to anger or resentment so tightly it felt like a weight dragging you down? Maybe it's a grudge against someone who wronged you, a regret you can't release, or a frustration you keep replaying. Jung's psychology teaches us that letting go isn't just about moving past the past. It's an essential step in individuation, the process of becoming your true self. By releasing what no longer serves you, you free your soul from emotional chains and reclaim a peace that no one can take away. Jung believed holding on to anger or resentment keeps us tied to our shadow, the unhealed parts of ourselves. These emotions act like chains, binding us to people and moments we can't control. Letting go doesn't mean pretending it never happened or excusing poor behavior. It means releasing its grip over your emotions. As Jung wrote, "I am not what happened to me. I am what I choose to become." Choosing to let go isn't giving up, it's choosing freedom over suffering. Consider Emma, a 29-year-old graphic artist. 2 years ago, her best friend, Claire, betrayed her by spreading rumors at work, costing her a promotion. For months, Emma replayed the betrayal, imagining confrontations and revenge. The anger consumed Emma, draining her creativity and joy. One day, inspired by Carl Jung's teachings, she chose to face her shadow and release it. She realized that holding on to resentment didn't harm Claire, it only harmed her. Using visualization, Emma imagined her anger as a heavy stone she had been carrying. She pictured setting it down and walking away. This act didn't erase the betrayal, but it freed her to focus on her art and rebuild her confidence. Letting go is powerful because it shifts your energy from the past into the present. Carl Jung's concept of individuation emphasizes living in harmony with your true self, and you can't do that while clinging to old wounds. As the Buddhist saying goes, holding on to anger is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to suffer. When you let go, forgiveness isn't for their sake, but for your own freedom. So how can you practice letting go to liberate your soul? Try this simple method, the release ritual. Acknowledge the emotion. Name what you're feeling without judgment. Write it down, "I'm angry because," or "I'm hurt because." This brings the emotion from your shadow into awareness. Visualize letting go. Close your eyes and imagine the emotion as an object, a stone, balloon, or burning coal. See yourself releasing it, watching it float away or dissolve. This uses Jung's active imagination to process hidden feelings. Refocus on the present. Ask yourself, what can I do right now to honor my true self? Shift your energy into something meaningful, whether it's creating, connecting, or resting. Here's how it looks in practice. Imagine you're upset because a coworker claimed credit for your idea during a meeting. You feel cheated and replay the moment in your mind. Instead of dwelling, use the release ritual. Acknowledge, "I'm angry because they stole my idea." Visualize. Picture your anger as a balloon tied to your wrist. Cut the string and watch it float away. Refocus. Decide to share your next idea directly with your boss or channel your energy into a new project that excites you. This doesn't undo what happened, but it stops their actions from controlling your peace. Another example, Michael, a college student, was upset when his professor gave him a lower grade, saying his essay lacked originality. Michael felt unfairly judged and obsessed over the comment. Using the release ritual, he wrote, "I'm angry because I feel misunderstood." He visualized his anger as a heavy backpack, then pictured setting it down. Refocusing, he started a new essay, channeling his energy into creativity. Letting go didn't change the grade, but it restored his confidence and focus. Letting go is not a one-time event, but a practice. It takes courage to release what feels familiar, even when it's painful. Yet each time you do, you move closer to the person Jung believed you were meant to be, free from the past's weight. As the philosopher Lao Tzu said, "When I let go of what I am, I become what I might be." By releasing anger or resentment, you create space for joy, creativity, and peace. So the next time you feel stuck in anger or regret, pause and ask, what am I holding on to? And what might happen if I let it go? Try the release ritual and notice how it lightens your spirit. Stay with us for Chapter 6, where we'll explore how gratitude can reshape your mind and keep you grounded. What's one thing you're ready to release today? Share it in the comments below so we can support each other in finding freedom. Now, imagine a different scenario. You're stuck in traffic, late for an important meeting, and frustration begins to rise. What if the secret to staying calm was as simple as shifting your focus? Instead of dwelling on the problem, try finding something, anything, to be grateful for. Carl Jung's psychology shows that gratitude helps balance the conscious and unconscious mind, creating harmony that lifts you above external triggers. In this next chapter, we'll see how gratitude can transform your perspective, ease anger, and keep you centered no matter what life brings. Jung believed emotions like anger surface when the conscious and unconscious are out of alignment. When we focus only on what's wrong, a rude comment, an unfair situation, or a frustrating delay, we fuel the negative energy in our shadow. Gratitude acts as a bridge, reconnecting us to the present and reminding us of the good that exists even in difficult times. It's not about ignoring reality, it's about seeing the bigger picture. As Jung said, one does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. Gratitude shines light on your inner world, transforming chaos into calm. Let's bring this to life with a story. Meet David, a 40-year-old delivery driver who's had a rough day. A customer yelled at him for a late delivery. Traffic was heavy, and with his phone dead, David felt completely cut off. Frustration began to rise, and he was on the verge of snapping. But then he stopped and tried something different. He asked himself, what can I be grateful for right now? Suddenly, he remembered his job that supported his family, the music on the radio lifting his mood, and the fact that tomorrow offered a fresh start. That small shift didn't erase the day's problems, but it softened his anger, leaving him calmer and more balanced. Gratitude is powerful because it reshapes how we see life. Carl Jung's teaching on balancing the conscious and unconscious shows that focusing on the positive helps integrate the shadow, easing negative emotions. As Cicero once said, gratitude is not only the greatest virtue, but also the foundation of all others. When you practice gratitude, you're not just calming your thoughts, you're building resilience to face challenges without being shaken. So how do you bring gratitude into daily life? Try this simple method, the gratitude reset. The next time frustration creeps in, follow these steps. Pause and notice. Identify the emotion without judgment. For example, I'm angry because... Find 3 things. Name 3 things you're grateful for, no matter how small. It could be your health, a kind gesture, or simply being alive. Reframe the moment. Ask, how can I see this differently? Use gratitude to shift focus from what's wrong to what's still right. Here's how it works in real life. Imagine you're at work and a colleague snaps at you during a stressful project. Can't you do anything right? Your instinct might be to lash out or hold resentment. Instead, try the gratitude reset. Pause and say, I'm angry because I felt disrespected. Then find 3 things to be grateful for. My job, my supportive teammate, and the coffee that's keeping me going. Reframe the situation. Maybe they're stressed, not attacking me personally. I can stay calm and focus on my work. This doesn't excuse their behavior, but it protects your peace. Another example, Maria, a nurse, was exhausted after a long shift when a patient loudly complained about a minor delay. She felt unappreciated and upset. Using the gratitude reset, she paused. I'm frustrated because I'm trying my best. She then found 3 things. I'm grateful for my skills, the patients I helped today, and my supportive co-workers. Reframing, she thought, this patient is upset, but I know I'm making a difference here. With that, she finished her shift with renewed purpose. Gratitude doesn't mean pretending everything is perfect. It means choosing to notice what lifts you, even in messy situations. Jung reminds us that real growth comes from integrating both light and shadow. Practicing gratitude not only eases anger, but creates a mindset that remains steady through life's storms. As the Buddha said, let us rise up and be thankful. For if we did not learn much today, at least we learned a little. So the next time anger rises, pause and ask, what can I be grateful for right now? Use the gratitude reset and watch your perspective shift. You'll see that peace isn't something you chase, it's something you create. Stay tuned for our outro, where we'll wrap up this journey to emotional freedom. And now let's reflect. What's one thing you're grateful for today? Share it in the comments, and let's inspire each other. You've just taken a journey through Carl Jung's wisdom on mastering emotions and reclaiming inner peace. From facing the shadow to calming anger, protecting your energy with boundaries. reframing criticism, releasing what no longer serves you, and finally, using gratitude to transform your mindset. This is more than a guide to staying unbothered. It's a roadmap to individuation, Jung's vision of becoming your truest, most authentic self. Remember this: the rude co-worker, the judgmental friend, the impatient stranger. They don't control your emotions, you do. Jung taught that true freedom comes from within, by embracing every part of ourselves, light and shadow, strength and vulnerability. Each time you choose calm over chaos, you're not just enduring challenges, you're thriving through them. You're authoring your own story, one of strength, clarity, and freedom. So what's next? Carry these tools into your life. The next time someone pushes your buttons, pause and ask, what's my shadow teaching me? How can I choose my response? Use the practices we've covered: the shadow journal, the 3-second pause, the boundary blueprint, the criticism filter, the release ritual, and the gratitude reset. Each step builds a life where your peace is untouchable. As Jung said, the privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. This is your moment to claim that privilege. Now, let's make this a movement. If Jung's wisdom has inspired you to take control of your emotions, hit subscribe and turn on notifications to join the Jung Psyche Hub community. Together, we'll dive deeper into the psychology of self-discovery. Share this video with someone who could use more peace, whether it's a friend, family member, or colleague. Like this video to spread Jung's timeless wisdom, and drop a comment below. What's one trigger you're ready to let go of, or a moment where you chose peace over anger? Your story might inspire someone else on their journey. Thank you for joining us on this transformative path. Remember, your emotions don't control you. You control them. Keep showing up for yourself. Keep exploring your inner world. And keep choosing peace. This is just the beginning. Until next time, stay grounded, stay authentic, and stay unbothered.